what we want to work with next is the LIs. So these four are the LIs that nest the A, and the A links to the four different pages. So what I'm going to do is style them. Now, usually when we style navigation items, we make them look alike. We don't have back home a certain style and then about the trip a different style. We want all four to be the same style, which means we have to use a class. Okay? If we wanted each button to be a different style, a different color, we would give each an ID and then we would style each one differently. But usually navigation items look alike. So I'm going to use the class attribute. So go to your HTML and li space class equals a value. What I'm going to call this is the word orange. That's because later on we will color the list items the color orange. So it makes sense to me that way. Okay, so each of the four LIs will have the same class. That's why I'm going to copy this and paste it. Okay, so I have the four LIs. Each of them has the same class. The value of the class is orange. Now let me go to my CSS and write li.orange, open close curly braces, and what we want is, you see these bullet points? We got them, that's because we used the unordered list. So the LIs are nested in an unordered list. The unordered list creates bullet points as opposed to the ordered list, the OL, which creates numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. So visually, we don't want these 4 bullet points here. We want to get rid of them. So we want to say list style type none. Okay, this removes the bullet points. All right, so list style type none. And now let's style the A. The A is the link. So we don't want this blue generic color of the browser, which is quite ugly, if you will. We want black in this case, and so forth. So let's work with that. If I look at my HTML, I see that there's then an A element which is nested inside of the LI. The LI in turn is nested in the UL is nested in nav, the nav is nested in div, and so forth. What I care about right now is this part, okay? The A nested in the LI. That's why I want to say li.orange space A. Okay, color black, and text decoration. Let's see what this does. Text decoration is the underline. So the first thing I want is I want these 4 items to become black. The second thing I want is to remove the underline. So if I say text decoration none, it will remove the underline for me. Let me save and refresh the page, and this is what I have so far. Okay, so I also want the navigation items to be a bit bigger because, you know, they have some importance, so I don't want them 12 pixels. Font size 14 pixels, because so far they're actually 12 pixels because that's what we said in the body element. And unless we precise something different for each element, they will all inherit the properties of the body element, because the body element is the parent, is the main parent of all other children, right? So now what we did is we went to the A element and we said, we know that you currently are 12 pixels. That's because you're reading what the body element has as far as font size, but we want you, A, in particular, to have a font size of 14 pixels. So let's save and refresh, and obviously our font size increases from 12 to 14. We also want this to be bold, so font weight bold. Refresh. Okay, so a nice navigation of black, no underline, bold, and 14 pixels. Now, when we hover over a navigation item, it's nice for it to change color. Currently, when we hover over a navigation item, the cursor is changing to the finger. Okay, not bad, but it's much nicer if it changes color. So let's do that. li.orange space a colon hover. This is written in the CSS lesson, obviously the a colon hover. It means upon hover, when I hover over the A element, I would like the following changes to happen. And whatever change we want, this is the current state, and the changes are inserted here. So whatever change we want, we go ahead and type here. The only change I want in this case is just for the black to change to gray when I hover over it. Okay? So I'm not going to discuss anything related to text decoration or font size or font weight. I'm just going to say color gray, light gray. CCC is a very light gray. So save and refresh. Let's hover now. Okay, so black is changing to light gray. Okay, so far so good. Let's style the sections. Section, open, close, curly braces. Let's look at the section first. We have two sections. Each section has an H1 introduction. The second one has an H1 of news. Actually, these are H4s. They're not H1s. This is H1. You see it's much bigger. H1, H2, and then in decreasing order. This is H4, I believe. Let me see. Yes, H4. Okay, so section. Let's give it some padding because, again, the section is stuck to the left side. So padding 20 pixels and line height. What is line height? Line height is the distance between each line. In Illustrator we call it leading. Okay, so line height 17 pixels. I feel that these lines are too close to one another, so I'm just adding some space. And let's refresh now. Okay. So more space between the lines, a padding of 20 pixels around each section. And again, if you remember, these headings have a default margin. And we already set the H1 and the H2 to 0, margin 0. Let's do the same to this H4. So H4, open, close, curly braces, margin 0. So hopefully now there will be, okay, so that extra space above the word introduction and that extra space above the word news has been deleted. That's the margin. Okay, so far so good. Let's take a look at the order of things here in the CSS, because if something is out of order, we have to fix it. What I mean by order is, in index, we know that the body element is the first element, next comes the div, next comes header, and so on. So in style, we should have the same order. The body element, div, h1, h2, header. So header actually contains h1 and h2, okay? So it comes first. In other words, I'm going to copy all this and hit Command X. Command X cuts. It copies and cuts, which means it deletes, but it copies before deleting. And I'm going to place it right here. So Command V. Okay, because header is before H1 and H2 in the order of elements in HTML. That's because it contains them. Li orange obviously is within nav, and nav comes later, so that's fine. Li orange A, hover, section is at the bottom, and section contains the H4, so everything's fine. Now, beautiful. This is our index.html page. Let's go ahead and click on About the Trip. Oops, where's the style? Where is all the style? Who can tell me? Basically, obviously, you know that if we open the about.html page, what's missing here? Remember that our index.html page looks this way just because within the head element we added that link element that's linking to style.css. We haven't done that. We haven't done that in the other files. So what we need to do is copy this line and go to about.html, paste it there, and open each of the other files, activities and contact as well, and paste that. Save. Activities. Save. And now hopefully when we click on all of the links, all of the pages will look alike. Actually, they do, except for the navigation. So the background, the body element, the header, the H1, the H2, everything seems to be styled except for the navigation. Why is that? Let's take a look. Let's do some thinking. So if we look at index, now that we've added the link element to all of the pages, it's on the about page, it's on the activities page, it's on the contact page. How come the navigation is not styled like the index page, right? So if we think about it, if we look at the files, we notice that we have forgotten to add the class orange to the LIs, okay? Because the changes we made in index is, first of all, we added the link element and we linked to the CSS page, but we also gave the LI element a class orange. And that we haven't done on the other pages, okay? So basically the LI on this page is not reading the class orange and the properties that are under the class orange. So let's go ahead and add LI class orange, starting with the about. Basically give the LI element the class orange. Save. Same thing on activities. And save. Same thing on contact page. Save this, refresh. Okay, there you go. So back home takes us back home. About the trip, what we'll do, come with me. All 4 pages are properly styled, and the CSS is working on all 4 pages.